Hi everyone, my name is Austin Zollner, and this is my digital media presentation on a brief outlook on Kurdistan, Muslims, and Ramadan from an uninformed Christian perspective of someone who really um, doesn't really know too much about the religion. So, some of the prior assumptions that I have about Kurdistan, Muslims, Ramadan, and the overall religion of Islam. To be honest, did not have any prior knowledge other than what students have told me or what I thought, kind of just assumed or guessed. I assumed Kurdistan was its own country, and I assumed Ramadan was, like Lent, excuse me, but for Muslims, kind of similar but different. And I assumed every Muslim follows the fast. So, what is Ramadan? Ramadan is the holy month for Muslims who follow and observe or follow Islam. It is the ninth month of the Muslim calendar and goes for 30 days. With the Muslim calendar, it varies, so it's not like how Christians celebrate Christmas and it always falls on the same day. The date range of Ramadan can vary. And the most common element is observing fasting from sunrise to sunset with no eating or drinking during that time. So Ramadan can include dedicated times of prayer and charity. During that time, there's just a lot of general abstaining from things such as sexual activity, smoking cigarettes, chewing gum, listening to music, no arguing, lowering your gaze, just things like that. And you really try to focus on making time for prayer and self-reflection. So at our school, our Ramadan policy is, because we have many students that are Kurdish, during Ramadan, many students are exempt from specials courses, such as art, PE, and especially music, because that's one of the sort of core pillars that people observe or that participate in Ramadan. They don't listen to music from sun up to sundown, and as well as prayer times throughout the day. These students are allowed to sit outside of class and not participate. At the same time, though, having kids outside of our classrooms for prayer and music and PE and stuff, it brings in the issue of how to monitor them, as well as making sure they're being safe and accounted for. So a handful of students each year do end up using this as an excuse to be really, really disruptive outside of classrooms, looking in, making faces, running around, just acting like it's free time. And so the main question that I want us to think about is how can we strike a balance between, following the policy respectfully and respectfully allowing those students to observe their religion the right way, and how do we differentiate and sort of identify the ones that are sort of abusing that privilege, or I guess time set aside, and how to address it is the biggest thing. How are we going to move forward? So what I've learned throughout this research is that I thought Kurdistan was a country, but it's actually just a region. It's not a state or anything. It is comprised of where most of the Kurds live, and that is between Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. Each of these dots represents 1 million people, so there's about 33 million people in this area right here, and there's 2 million people everywhere else in the world. In Fargo Moorhead, where we live, there's a thriving Kurdish population in Fargo Moorhead. I've also learned that Ramadan and Lent do share several core principles, such as community and abstaining from certain pleasures, while they do differ. In terms of fasting, there are a lot of different factors, such as age, people that are ill, people that are traveling. So it does really depend on certain individual situations. So why do we need to know about this? Well, in the spring of my first year of teaching, there were a series of tweets going around called National Rip Off a Hijab Day. It was this sort of hate groups that were asking followers of them to go around and rip off girls' hijabs. One of my girls was really, really shaken up by this. So I just want us to really think about how greater understanding expands our acceptance of others. At the same time, though, not all Muslims are the same, just like how not all Jewish or Christian or any other religion are not all the exact same people. Because on that same girl on the last day of school was very openly defiant towards the dress wear that her family expected her to wear. She was wearing, shorts and not wearing her hijab, and a couple other girls were really astonished by this. But at the end of the day, the big thing to keep in mind is that each person is their own individual. And here's the references page that I will link. Thank you very much.